Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys about something that may be a controversial stance, but I think it's still true irrespective of that. And it's going to be a controversial stance because the flexible dieting approach has really dominated all the fitness circles that I know of. And as you guys know that I've said, it's not always a good thing, and it doesn't take into account that 50% of the population are not moderators from a personality perspective, and they will never really learn to moderate. They don't take that into account, which is again why the failure rate for it is just as high as a lot of other dietary approaches. But on the other extreme, what we tend to have are the fad diets. That's usually what we see for the two most common extremes. People are either following fad diets, which I would describe as keto, carnivore, vegan, all those things. These are fad diets. Paleo, right? And not that the basic concept of paleo isn't a decent idea, but it's when you take it too seriously, right? If we just say, hey, we should probably have minimally processed foods, probably okay. But, when people start saying silly nonsense like grains aren't natural to the human diet, uh, they're lying to you. These are people who don't know anything about nutrition. They don't know anything about anthropology, anything else, right? They're completely oblivious. They just made that up out of nothing. They literally made it up out of nothing, off of a small hypothesis that they think Paleolithic man didn't eat grains, but they didn't actually research and find out that they did. Oops. A bit of a problem for that thing, and then they'll come back with, well, okay, maybe they did, but it still works for our ideas. It's like, well, your ideas are based on nothing. You're just making it up as you go. But let's come over and talk about bro dieting. And the funny thing is, bro dieting, whether you like the idea or not, whether you think it causes eating disorders or not, has a pretty high track record of success. And what do we mean by bro dieting? Well, what we would think of as the chicken broccoli brown rice, or just chicken broccoli rice, and maybe some lean dairy like protein shakes, fat-free Greek yogurt. All right. That doesn't mean that's the only thing you eat. I mean, when people hear that, they're thinking, oh, that's the only food you get to eat. Well, no, not at all. It's the ideas that it's built around that. Usually the idea behind basic bro dieting is you pick a lean protein source, right? Whether it's chicken breast, steak, turkey, whatever, right? It's usually a lean meat, and you usually eat similar quantities of it every day, whatever amount that you need, and they'll often do stuff like, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Well, I think that's a decent benchmark. We could argue that it's not accurate, and make good arguments that it's not accurate, but it's not bad. I don't think it's going to be a problem for you to do that. Let's say you eat that in lean protein every day, one of your animal sources, and maybe include some dairy in it, whether it's whey protein, Greek yogurt, right? Lower fat or fat-free versions. All right, you're then eating vegetables. It's just people will say broccoli because broccoli is easy, it's common, but it can be any combination of mixed vegetables. You could mix it up. Asian stir fry, riced cauliflower, peppers, spinach, whatever, vegetables. You're always making sure that you eat enough vegetables every day to hit your micronutrient needs. Get plenty of extra fiber, phytonutrients. And then you fill your remaining calories with a grain of some type. You can always add more vegetables for more satiety if you need to reduce calorie intake. But, again, on a diet like this, what do we adjust? We're adjusting the carbohydrate for calories. Doesn't mean we're promoting low carb because these sort of diets are high carb. It just means it's at your calorie control, right? And it's an easy calorie control. If you're eating similar quantities of rice or oats or whatever that grain is you're doing, rice being the most common, right? Rice being the most common, you could just adjust it. You adjust the quantity based upon calorie needs and based on what's changing on the scale, because you're probably keeping the protein pretty constant. You're keeping the vegetables high, and you just reduce or increase that. Such as with rice, where half a cup is 300 calories. You easily can change your calorie intake by 300 calories on average by going up or down half a cup a day. Right? It works. It's simple. It's effective. And if you do it the way I just described it, you're going to have good micronutrient sufficiency. Right? You're going to have micronutrient sufficiency. You'll see the people who follow other approaches. The flexible dieters are the funniest ones with this, right? They're the funniest. Well, you can eat that way and have microdeficiencies. Said by people who routinely work low micronutrient junk food into their diet all the time. Is like 20%. They're the ones who are talking about micronutrient deficiency on diets that are based on all whole foods where you're eating tons of vegetables. Yeah, okay. That have both lean meat and dairy in them on top of it. Yeah, no, you're not. You shouldn't be having those issues at all, especially if you're eating any significant amount of vegetables. But here's the thing. This sort of dieting has a high track record of success, and people would say, well, why? Well, because unlike fad diets, it's not really as restrictive as you think it is. But that's the other thing, that when people get this idea in our head that eating is this massive pleasure thing, it's this massive social thing, and they also forget that they have desensitized their palate to a lot of foods that should actually taste better than they do. But when you're nonstop doing junk food all the time, you expect everything to taste like fatty grease or like table sugar. Well, you desensitize your taste buds. Okay, but you can still season this sort of food just fine. Depends on what you need. But the idea here is that we have micronutrient sufficiency, high satiety, easily adjustable to track calories, because you're only usually changing the intake of whatever your primary grains are. You're just changing that to hit your calorie needs, whether you're bulking, cutting. And we should generally be bulking or cutting. And yes, gaining a pound a month is a bulk. Okay. Or we could call it a build. A lot of people find that a better term, but the fact of the matter is this method is very successful. Whether you like it or not, or whether you like the idea behind it or not, it has a higher track record of success for getting people lean and getting people jacked. It just does. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.